Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to another Sims 4 video, and despite being very entranced into the PS4 at the moment, I don't know if that's the right word, I thought I'd just chuck in a Sims 4 video because obviously this is a game that I'm still really excited for, and maybe it might actually come out on the PS4, we don't know. So, the three topics I thought I'd talk about today were careers, emotions, and animations, and what they're really changing with the physics system. So, starting off with careers, we haven't heard too much new about this. We do know, obviously, like in Sims 3, there will be 10 levels, and you'll be able to do little timed events that will, help boost your Sims' job performance and whatnot. But the biggest change so far is that, in Sims 4, when you get promoted, or when you get an upgrade in your job, you actually get your rewards in the form of decoration and objects. Unlike in Sims 3 where you got money. So this is going to make for a bit more interesting sort of, reasons to actually get promoted. Because you'll get some cool objects hopefully. And maybe if you're, in the army at a really high level, you'll actually get some really awesome stuff. So let's move on to emotions, and once again, there isn't too much new information about this. Hopefully you might not know about this already, which would be great. But if you have, then obviously there will be a little bit of new information for you here. A lot of this is from Gamescom, which happened quite a while ago. But pretty much Sims will bounce between many different emotional states. And this is all based on their needs, interactions, and environments. This is sort of stuff we've seen before, but they're really boosting how much this has an effect on your Sim. So pretty much, for example, these really affect the interactions that are available for Sims. For example, in a romantic state, a Sim might be able to, kiss as opposed to insult. You wouldn't actually be able to insult if they're in a romantic mode or romantic state. You couldn't just absolutely abuse your partner for no apparent reason like you could in Sims 3. There was a trait in that game, or like a lifetime desire for one of the Sims, one of my Sims, to get 10 different married couples or something ridiculous like that. And it was really easy just to fall in love with them, or get them to fall in love with you, and then just break up with them all of a sudden. In this game, it's going to be harder just to change state, because it's really unrealistic. So a few more examples are, and this is a really sort of cool thing they're adding, where if you're an angry Sim, for whatever reason, maybe you had a long day at work or whatever, you'll run faster, or you can run faster on the treadmill, which will help calm them down, or you can, punch a boxing bag faster to help them calm down as well. Or if Sims are feeling really, sad and upset for whatever reason, they're able to eat ice cream in the bathtub, which I think we all do that from time to time. But yeah, that'll be a funny thing to have in the game. And once again, it really is a lot more realistic, and will add a different level of sort of immersion into your actual Sim character. So, in an interview from IGN, Roddy, I believe his name is, he's the producer on Sims 4, he said that there were roughly, and there might be more, there probably will be more on release, about 15 emotions in the game, including bored, stressed, inspired, focused, energized, cranky, playful, dazed, and confident, and I'm sure there's going to be more added, but that's all going to really affect how your Sims reacts in the game. So let's move on to animations. So this is where, I really do get excited for this game, because it's not exactly letting the game back, because the graphics are meant to be sort of cartoony. That's it's not meant to be photorealistic, but just in the potential, what they could really do is make the game look amazing. So what they're doing is scrapping all the animations from the previous games, which is great news. None of them have been ported, so there's going to be completely new animations, which is great. Just in general of what, I can't tell you from my personal experience, but of what I've seen and what I've heard, animations are a lot smoother, and they're a lot more natural than they were in previous games, with sort of improved transitions between them. So you'll see your Sims doing a lot more sort of realistic movements. There were a few issues in the old Sims where if you made a sort of narrow path or a narrow hallway, they'd have to navigate around doors, and it would just be a bit of a nightmare trying to navigate them around. In Sims 4, they're really making it a lot easier just to navigate around. There's also 360 movement, which is something that they've always talked about in these sort of games, especially in FIFA. I don't know if you guys are FIFA fans, but they're constantly talking about the movement. But obviously that is an important thing in Sims. There's no robotic movements where you sort of find yourself moving in 90 degrees every movement. It was really funny in the older Sims when they used to do that. So now if there's, a narrow hallway, they'll actually, adjust their body to try and go through a doorway or whatever. And also with large groups of Sims, they won't spend hours just bunched up at doorways as they sort of try and pass through simultaneously. There were a lot of really stupid things in the older Sims that they're really refining out. Obviously, just because they were, older games, and that's sort of what you'd expect. And also, Sims will, if you build like some sort of path from the footpath to your actual front door, then often in the older Sims, they just run straight through your garden or run straight through all the grass or whatever. Now they'll actually go through your little path, which obviously to get into your house, which is a lot. Just, it's going to add a bit of a cleaner look to the game. Also, groups of Sims having conversation will actually slowly and naturally just adjust the way they're standing when there's more Sims entering the conversation or leaving the conversation. So like in real life, and what I notice in Sims is when there's 4 people in the conversation or 3 people, there'll be 2 people just staring at each other and the third guy will just be sort of staring at no one, which is a bit unrealistic. The next thing is when Sims are actually speaking, the other Sims in the circle will also sort of turn their upper bodies to face the speaker, rather than in the Sims 3 where once again it's just felt very sort of static and no one was really looking at each other. These little things really add to that sort of natural, free-flowing sort of gameplay that we're going to see in The Sims 4, which I really can't wait to see. And lastly, Sims will gesture in a wider variety of ways when speaking. So there were some ridiculous gestures from some of the earlier Sims where they jump up and down. It would look really funny. These ones are a lot more realistic and they're a lot more appropriate. Their gestures will really reflect the response they obtain from the other Sims. So if they're angry or if they're happy or something, they're not going to bounce up and down crazily, rather than more sort of realistically, they might, use their hands to show some sort of gratitude or whatever. It just depends on the situation. So that's it for this video, guys. Let me know what you're excited for about the things that I listed in this video with Sims 4. It's really not too far away, so all of you Sims fans out there, get really excited, because I really am starting to get excited for Sims 4. So thanks a lot for watching, guys, and I'll see you guys later.